All right, so here we are, episode 2 of Signals from Mars. I'm your host, Victor. This is the Mars Attacks podcast live show, and this is the show for October. I've written down 25th because the 25th on my end of the world as of 3 minutes ago, but the 24th for all you fine folks in the US or in the UK that may be watching. So for the rest of us that are on the other side of the world, it is the 24th. So there we go. Trying to see if we can have a little less bumps in the road, less hiccups this time around. There were some issues the last time with the audio that I think I've gotten straightened out, and with the actual images. I've been working on it, so hopefully this will run a lot smoother and things will get better from here on out. So if you're joining me live, great. If not, if you're watching this later on Facebook or YouTube, I want to thank you for checking this out. So let's start things off here with well, I should say this. You'll see on the right-hand side here, on my right-hand side, let's see if I can point to it. No, right over here. You'll see all my personal social media stuff, so you can hit me up there. You'll see towards the end of the video the Mars Attacks related stuff, so you could go there. And across the bottom here, you can see what we're going to talk about today in the various sections or features of the show. So we're going to kick things off with the Ace Frehley unboxing. Let's go. Alright, a little mission to Mars, which is probably my favorite track off of the album so far. As you see, I've pulled this out. The jacket there showing the last few releases on E1. This came with the vinyl and the CD at the same time. This is the Violet, as they put it. It is a purple vinyl. This came out also in orange variant. It also came out in blue, and it also came out in the violet that I have. I'm pointing there to some red marks, which I don't know if they're imperfections or what. And this is Ace's 8th solo album overall. Obviously, there's the Ace Frehley album with Kiss. There's Frehley's Comet, their second sighting. And there's a kind of, a picture that I took of the Violet. And here's what I have on vinyl by Ace. And yeah, so like I said, the Ace Frehley album, the Frehley's Comet in 87, Second Sighting 88, Trouble Walking 89, and then things kind of dried up for 20 years until Anomaly in 09, Space Invader in 2014, Origins, the cover album in 2016, and now Space Invader. And he's already said he's working on Origins 2. So that'll be interesting because it's usually Ace and a drummer. And if you take a look at the album, I mean, there are a few things that I mention here. Guest appearances by Gene Simmons and Anton Fig. Scott Coogan and Matt Starr also play drums on the album. Ace plays the bass on a bunch of different tracks. Gene plays bass on one track. the producer, or the album's co-producer. I have the vinyl here. So before I screw anything up, let me look at the actual thing here, because I initially wrote something about the album coming out last Friday, and I screwed it up because I mentioned that Gene played on 2 songs. He actually plays on 1. He co-produces. I'm reading and talking at the same time. He co-wrote 2 songs, and he played on 1. He played on Without You I'm Nothing. I read recording engineer Alan Saltzman. He plays bass on a few of these. He plays bass on Your Wish Is My Command. Let's see. He plays on I Want to Go Back. And Warren Hewart, the producer, who was the co-producer. Well, it says co-produced by Alan Saltzman, except Quantum Flux, co-produced by Warren Hewart, mixed by Warren Hewart. And that's basically he's been working with Warren since he worked on Anomaly. So he's out there in California with him also. I'm not sure if he's in San Diego as well or not, but Warren worked with him. I want to go back, Eddie Money cover. Little trivia here that probably no one really cares about, but I want to go back. The Eddie Money video was shot in my hometown of Dover, New Jersey, and was shot where my brother went to middle school. They had a gym that was a 50s style gym, and they used it. And they had the high schoolers come down and dress up in 50s clothes and appear in the video. And my cousin appears in the video for a split second. So there's my connection to the Ace album. My hometown, Dover, New Jersey, was recovering from a 7-alarm fire where 2 buildings just like fell apart. So very, very weird scene, seeing pictures being sent to me by my mother first of all, and then asking out on Facebook for people, 2 people, to see what the hell was going on. And they sent me links to the local Channel 7 News ABC affiliate, where they were shown from the helicopter just what was going on. So cool that no one got hurt, but still sucks. So anyway, you can donate to the cause, help some of those people out. So anyway, let's keep talking about music here. So we're going to talk about Jakey Lee. Jake was talking to Eon Music, and this has actually come up in the past, where Jake has talked about being asked to rejoin Ozzy's band when he was doing the Scream album. And this kind of comes up because Ozzy was working with Kevin Churko, and Kevin Churko and his son were kind of kicking the tires for Jake to record with him. And then the subject of Ozzy, of recording with Ozzy, came up. And I mean, Jake has mentioned this in the past with wanting to get some sort of recognition for working on Bark at the Moon. And the exact quote, let me read this for you because I don't want to sound stupid. I apologize. I don't have a teleprompter here to read and look forward. Maybe one day. So Jake goes on to say, let's see, that he started to get an itch after 10 years, and I was jamming with bands every once in a while here in Las Vegas, and eventually producer Kevin Churko, he initially contacted me because he was doing Ozzy's album. To be honest, I haven't listened to Ozzy in a long time, so I don't know which album Churko did, but I know he did a couple of albums with Ozzy. He initially contacted me because he also lives in Las Vegas, about what it would take for me to come back and play with Ozzy. But discussion stalled, or actually, that's coming from the article that I'm reading from. I apologize. In the article, this is coming from Ultimate Classic Rock. They essentially say that discussion stalled because, well, Jake goes on to say those talks didn't last long. I mean, because I said, look, all I want is some songwriting credit for the stuff I wrote on Bark at the Moon. That's it. If they do that, I'd be happy to, see what could happen with Ozzy and me all these years later. But yeah, that was never going to happen. So it's kind of interesting. Is he expecting just to get songwriting credit and there not be any type of monetary reimbursement for the royalties? Because to my knowledge, how the story goes is both Jake and Bob Daisley worked on the album as and Tommy Aldridge for that fact, or for that matter. And they were employees. And what they did was they signed the rights over of those songs to Ozzy. So Ozzy is the main songwriter for all of those tracks. So we know, as much as I love Ozzy, throughout his history, he's always worked with other people. He's been smart enough to do that. They were able to use their leverage or whatever to get everyone to sign their stuff over. After the Ultimate Sin, that kind of changed back to him giving credit to everyone once again. So, Jake is coming out with a new Red Dragon Cartel album called Patina, November 9th. I got a chance to listen to it yesterday. I need to listen to it a few more other times before, giving an honest opinion on it. There's some stuff that I heard that I do like, and there's other stuff that I really have to listen more to see if it kind of, sinks in or not. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I love what he did with Badlands. There's, there's no two ways about it. I love all three Badlands albums. And I don't know, I'm looking forward to giving this, some more spins and see what I think about it. Definitely there will be songs on here that make my Jakey Lee playlist, without a doubt. So, and just to confirm, Jake did play with Ozzy from 84 to 87, played on Bark at the Moon, and he also played on The Ultimate Sin, and he played on a VHS that was put out, and it was subsequently put out on DVD. I know Ozzy kind of shuns away from that because that was when he was wearing all the, wrestling-like robes and was more kind of glammed out, but man, I dig a lot of that material, so I know some people don't, but whatever. I like it. So yeah, and the final segment here, last week it was just the podcasting feature, and then I thought about it this week. If there's a way to keep Earpeeler going, it can be through this live show. And the podcasting feature will be the Earpeeler podcasting feature. And essentially we're going to talk about shows that, I want to get feedback from people and have them kind of, say, hey, I really dig this show, check it out. Or, if a podcast comes to me and says, please talk about my show, here's a, 1 minute clip to sort of sell your audience on this. That works for me, man. Just send your stuff my way. Input at MarsAttacksRadio.com, or you can hit me up right here on Facebook. But the show I want to talk about is Dead Rock Stars. Dead Rock Stars is with Mick Wall and Joel McIver, two great authors. And this show, is informative and it cracks me up at the same time. There's a lot of interesting topics. They talk about dead rock stars, obviously. Both of them have come in contact with some of the people that they talk about. Mick more than Joel. But it's cool, man. It's cool to hear their banter back and forth, their jokes, the impressions that Mick does, especially of Bill Ward and Ozzy, are absolutely great. They crack me up every time. They're up to episode 23. Elvis is what they did last. Was again very informative for me. I really enjoyed it. And they've done, other highlights for me were the Ronnie James Dio episode, because Mick did get to spend time with Black Sabbath during the Heaven and Hell tour, and he's worked with them throughout the years. And just cool to hear some stories. The stories about Lemmy are great. Freddie Mercury was another cool one. So they're up to 23. The episodes run between 45 and 50 minutes. So I don't think it'd really be that big of a deal to catch up. They're highly entertaining. And in my opinion, they were part of the Podcasting Kings tournament. So give them a shot. And yeah, so again, if you want me to talk about your show, I'm looking at you, Terrence Reardon. Number 65, as we put it, the other day, thanks to Ian Wadley. If I'm going to talk about your show, just drop me a line. And wrap things up, want to talk about some of the stuff that I've been doing over at talkingrock.net, which is Mark Striegel of Talking Metal's site. I've been adding a bunch of content, videos, and different things that have premiered, or bands that are about to go out on tour. I'm going to be doing something on Uncle Acid, probably will be posted tomorrow. But I wrote something up about Pete Willis and about Def Leppard making it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Go to talkingrock.net and check that out. I talk Pete Willis up, and almost like a rep or a lawyer or whatever, and try to sell you guys on the fact that he is Hall of Fame material. I also kind of get into the Hall of Fame being the biggest trolls out there when it comes to hard rock and metal music. Why? Because year after year we're waiting for Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and Motorhead and Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, Motley Crue, bands like this to be nominated, and it never happens. Much like the Podcasting Kings tournament that I did over at Earpeeler, a lot of this is more for the fans than it is for the actual bands. But getting back to Def Leppard, Pete Willis was just such an important piece of their first 3 albums. I understand that, he had issues with alcohol and he was dismissed as a result, and Phil Collen took over and did almost all the solos on Pyromania, but he helped write, 3 of their biggest songs. Without those songs, and I'm talking about Too Late for Love, Bringing on the Heartbreak, and Photograph. Now, you can talk all you want about Pour Some Sugar on Me, probably being their most popular song of all time, kind of because it became a stripper's anthem and for other reasons. But Photograph was the really big hit that, you have to really look at it, and it's still on classic rock radio. It's still played all the time, and they close a lot of their shows with that. So that's a Pete Willis track. The other 2 that I mentioned as well, and if you look at the list of accomplishments, things that he's written or soloed on, if you're a diehard Def Leppard fan, his playing. You've heard it a million times. So to me, it's a no-brainer that he should be in. But check it out. And like I said, I think the Rock Hall, to a point, doesn't include certain bands because it gets us all back and riled up and gets us talking about them. So that's That's why I think they do it more so than anything else. So anyway, I want to thank everyone who's checking this out live or anyone who's checking this out after the fact. Thanks for the support. Thanks to those that help spread the word. And we'll catch you next week right here on Signals from Mars, the Mars Attacks podcast live show. One of these days I'll get this right. Is it in the Centaur? Kind of. All right, man. See you next episode.